Hey YouTube, Nick here bringing you my Latron and Latron Prime build video. This build works for both Prime and non-Prime Latrons, however I highly recommend working towards the Latron Prime. It's superior to the normal Latron and has no disadvantages in comparison. To start this build off, as always, you'll want to use a catalyst on this weapon. If you are using the standard Latron, then you will be using 4 Forma throughout this build. You will be adding 1 dash polarity and 3 V polarities. If you are using the Latron Prime as I am in this video, then you will just be adding 3 V polarities. The first mod you should equip in one of your polarities is Serration. This build will allow you to take Serration as high as you want. After that, you should equip Split Chamber in another V polarity. These 2 mods should be equipped as soon as possible if you're trying to level these weapons. Next up is Hellfire, or Stormbringer depending on what faction you're fighting. Against Grineer it doesn't matter as long as you have one equipped. Now this is where the Latron Prime outshines the standard Latron. The standard Latron has a base crit chance of 7.5, which means that a max point strike can only get you a total of 18.75 crit chance, which isn't terrible, but it's definitely not as pretty as the Latron Prime's base crit chance of 10. With a max point strike on a Latron Prime, you can have a total of 25% crit chance. Now that we're done with crit chance, let's make these weapons dish out some higher damage when it actually does crit. Vital Scent should go in your last polarity and Hammer Shot in a free slot. With both of these mods, you will bring their base crit damage from 150% to 420%. That is some outrageous crit damage. Now you have 2 slots left. One should go to Piercing Hit, and the other should go to a Bane mod. Use the Bane mod for the faction you're going up against, and you'll receive a 30% damage increase. It took me many Void runs to get all 3, but I finally did it, and it's definitely worth the effort. Okay, there is a variation to this build, and I'm sure many of you will want to play around with the different mods to personalize it to your playstyle. The nice thing about this build is that you can absolutely do that without fear of going over capacity. I made this build so that every shot has the potential to do as much damage as it possibly could, but there is an alternative I recommend depending on your preferences. If you feel this gun fires unbearably slow, then you should replace Hammer Shot with Speed Trigger. You will lose 90% crit damage as well as some stun, but you will gain 2.5 fire rate, bringing your fire rate up from 4.17 to 6.67. Some mods I wouldn't recommend as alternatives are Fast Hands, Cryo Rounds, Wildfire, and Rifle Ammo Mutation mod. These weapons have a reload speed of 2.4 seconds, so a max Fast Hands would only reduce the time by about 1 second. When you're reloading a gun in the middle of battle, 1 second probably feels like a lot more than it actually is. I think additional damage will help you a lot more than that 1 second off of reload time. Cryo Rounds just doesn't do enough damage to warrant the loss of 90% crit damage and stun. It's good against shields, but shields go down very quickly anyway, especially if you're critting huge numbers. Wildfire is kind of in the same boat as Cryo Rounds, but it will add 20% to magazine size, which ends up amounting to a measly 3 rounds. And lastly, Rifle Ammo Mutation. These mods are really cool, but the Latron already has a very good ammo conservation, so this mod would be a waste for the most part. Okay everybody, that sums up my Latron and Latron Prime build segment. Before I roll out some gameplay, I just want to let you all know that I am currently in search of dedicated and social players to recruit into the Procrastinators clan. We're a small shadow clan with a lot of really cool people who play every night. I'm one of the 3 warlords of the clan, so if you're interested in joining and intend on voice chatting and gaming almost every day, then please let me know. Finally, if you enjoyed this video and it helped you out, please comment, like, and subscribe. There's many more to come.